Life is a grand play, and in this play we encounter all kinds of characters, some uplifting, others draining. Toxic people, like storm clouds, wander into our skies, bringing their tempests of negativity. But here's the secret. Their storms are not yours to carry. The moment you realize this, you step into a space of freedom. Toxicity thrives on reaction, on resistance. The more you push against it, the more entangled you become. But wisdom whispers a different approach, one of understanding, detachment, and quiet mastery. You don't have to fight the storm, you only need to know how to navigate through it. Let us explore 7 clever ways to deal with toxic people, not by struggling against them, but by rising above them. Toxic people are like mirrors that reflect not who you are, but the chaos within themselves. They do not see you, they only see projections of their own fears, insecurities, and unresolved conflicts. If you take their words and actions personally, you fall into the illusion they have created. You become ensnared in a web that was never yours to begin with. But the moment you recognize this, something incredible happens. You reclaim your freedom. Imagine a person throwing insults at you, trying to drag you into their storm. Most people react, fighting back, defending themselves, engaging in the drama. But think for a moment. What if you simply chose not to participate? What if you could step back and observe without feeling the need to respond? This is where real power lies. The storm may rage, but you remain untouched, like the sky watching the passing clouds. This is not weakness, it is mastery. Detachment does not mean indifference, it means seeing clearly. When you detach, you recognize that toxic behavior is a reflection of the person it comes from, not of you. You stop absorbing their negativity because you understand that their actions are rooted in their own suffering. They act from pain, from a lack of awareness, from a deep disconnection within themselves. And when you see this, you cease to take it personally. Toxic people thrive on reaction. They seek to provoke, to pull you into their chaos, to make you dance to their dissonant tune. But what happens when you refuse to react? The cycle breaks. Their power over you dissolves. Like a match that cannot ignite without friction, their toxicity loses its fuel. When you choose non-reaction, you are no longer a puppet in their play. You become the observer, the witness, untouched by the drama unfolding before you. This does not mean you must tolerate mistreatment. It means you move with wisdom, setting boundaries not from a place of anger, but from a place of self-respect. Self-respect, just as a gardener builds a fence to protect the beauty of the flowers within, so too must you protect your peace. Boundaries are not walls of resentment. They are gates of self-preservation. You do not close yourself off from the world, but you decide who and what you allow into your space. And when you set these boundaries with clarity and without guilt, you reclaim control over your own energy. But even as you protect your peace, you must also recognize that every encounter, especially with toxic people, is a lesson in disguise. They challenge you, push you, test your patience, and in doing so, they reveal the areas where you still have work to do. Do they trigger anger? Then perhaps there is anger within you waiting to be healed. Do they make you feel unworthy? Then perhaps there is a part of you that still seeks external validation. Toxic people can be unwilling teachers, showing you the parts of yourself that need strengthening. And when you embrace this, they no longer become obstacles. They become opportunities for growth. Instead of seeing them as enemies, see them as mirrors. Each interaction is a chance to refine your ability to remain centered, to choose peace over conflict, to transform negativity into wisdom. You do not have to fix them, nor do you have to change them. That is not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to ensure that their toxicity does not take root within you. So the next time you encounter a toxic person, remember, they are only projecting their own reality. You do not have to make it yours. Detach, observe, set boundaries, and use the experience to strengthen your inner peace. Like a tree standing firm in the wind, remain grounded. The storm will pass, but you will remain. Resistance creates entanglement. The more you push against something, the more it pulls you in. Toxic people feed on this very principle. They thrive on conflict, on drama, on the energy that comes from your resistance. They seek to provoke, to pull you into their chaos, to make you fight back. But what if you didn't resist? What if instead of pushing against their negativity, you simply let it pass through you like wind through an open window? This is the power of detachment. Not the cold indifference of apathy, but the quiet wisdom of knowing that not everything requires your energy. You see, most people believe that dealing with toxicity means fighting it, proving themselves, arguing or defending their worth. But all of this is just another way of staying entangled. The real mastery lies in non-resistance, not in surrendering, but in understanding that engaging with toxic energy only gives it more life. But what happens when you refuse to react? What happens when you remain still, like a deep ocean undisturbed by the waves above? Suddenly, they lose their grip on you. Their words no longer have weight. Their manipulation loses its power. Like a flame that cannot burn without oxygen, their toxicity begins to suffocate without your reaction to fuel it. This does not mean you must suppress your emotions or pretend not to feel. It means developing the discipline to pause before responding, to observe the situation from a place of clarity rather than emotion. Imagine a toxic person hurling insults or trying to provoke you. Before reacting, take a breath. Ask yourself, do I need to engage with this? Will responding bring me peace, or will it only feed the negativity? More often than not, silence is the most powerful response. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of wisdom. It is the refusal to participate in a battle that serves no purpose. Toxic people expect a reaction, and when they do not get one, they are left powerless. There is nothing more disarming than a person who refuses to be moved by manipulation, who does not rise to anger, who simply acknowledges without absorbing. There will be times when a response is necessary, but even then it should come from a place of control, not impulse. A response rooted in awareness is calm, clear, and firm. It does not escalate the situation, but rather diffuses it. It does not seek to attack, but to establish boundaries. When you master this, you remain in control of yourself, regardless of the storm around you. Think of a martial artist facing an opponent. A novice fighter reacts, lunging forward, swinging wildly, losing balance. But a master observes, waits, and responds only when necessary. They do not fight every attack. They deflect, redirect, and conserve energy. This is the art of non-reaction in daily life. And the beauty of mastering non-reaction is that it not only protects your peace, but also teaches toxic people that their tactics will not work on you. Over time, they realize there is no point in provoking someone who does not respond. They move on, seeking easier targets. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their negativity, pause. Feel the urge to react, but do not act on it. Let the words pass like wind through empty space. Watch as the power of their toxicity dissolves in the presence of your stillness. In that moment, you are no longer a prisoner to their behavior. You are free. Boundaries are not walls built out of fear or resentment. They are lines drawn from a place of self-respect and wisdom. Many people believe that setting boundaries is an act of hostility, but in truth, it is an act of self-care. Just as a gardener places a fence to protect the beauty of the flowers within, you must establish limits to protect your energy, peace, and well-being. Toxic people have a way of overstepping, of pushing, of testing how much they can take from you before you push back. Some do it intentionally, seeking control, while others do it unconsciously, lost in their own dysfunction. But whether intentional or not, the effect is the same. If you do not set clear boundaries, they will continue to drain your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. The challenge is that many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear rejection, conflict, or being perceived as unkind. They worry that saying no will make them appear selfish or rude. But here is the truth. The people who get upset when you set boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. Healthy people respect boundaries, toxic people resist them. And that resistance is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that your boundaries are necessary. Setting boundaries does not mean engaging in confrontation or explaining yourself endlessly. It simply means being firm in your decisions. You do not have to justify why you will not tolerate disrespect. You do not have to explain why you are limiting your interactions with certain people. A simple, "I am not available for this," or "I do not allow this behavior in my life," is enough. There is a great misconception that boundaries push people away, but in reality they filter out those who do not respect you. The right people, those who truly care for your well-being, will not be offended by your boundaries. They will understand, because they too have their own. But those who are only in your life for their own benefit will resist. They will push, guilt-trip, manipulate, or attempt to make you feel bad for prioritizing yourself. And in that moment you will see clearly who was truly for you and who was merely using you. Boundaries are not just about what you do not allow from others. They are also about what you do not allow from yourself. How often do you betray your own peace by engaging in conversations you know will drain you? How often do you tolerate behavior that goes against your values just to avoid discomfort? Boundaries begin with self-awareness. They require you to ask, what am I no longer willing to accept? What am I allowing that is costing me my peace? Once you define these boundaries, the key is to uphold them consistently. A boundary that is repeatedly broken without consequence is not a boundary. It is a mere suggestion. You must be unwavering, not with aggression, but with quiet certainty. Toxic people will test you, waiting to see if you will bend, if you will compromise, if you will let them through just one more time. But every time you reinforce your boundary, you teach them that you respect yourself too much to tolerate their games. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become. You realize that setting boundaries is not about controlling others. It is about honoring yourself. It is about making a conscious decision to surround yourself with relationships that uplift rather than drain. It is about choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and self-respect over appeasement. So stand firm. Do not apologize for protecting your energy. Those who truly value you will respect your limits, and those who do not, they were never meant to stay. Every encounter in life, whether pleasant or painful, carries a lesson. Toxic people, though difficult, serve as unexpected teachers. They test patience, reveal hidden wounds, and challenge your ability to remain centered. While it may be tempting to see them as mere obstacles, a shift in perspective reveals something deeper. They are mirrors, reflecting back areas within yourself that need growth, healing, and awareness. It is easy to point fingers, to blame toxic individuals for their behavior, and to dwell on their negativity. But what if, instead of viewing them as a source of frustration, you viewed them as a means for self-discovery? What if their presence in your life was not a punishment but an opportunity? Not an enemy to fight but a lesson to embrace? Consider what they stir within you. Do they trigger anger? Then perhaps there is unprocessed anger within you, waiting to be understood. Do they make you feel unworthy? Then maybe a part of you still seeks validation from others. Do they drain your energy? Then perhaps you need to strengthen your boundaries and recognize where you are overextending yourself. Every reaction you have is a clue, pointing to something deeper that needs your attention. But most people do not see this. They focus outward, trying to change, fix, or eliminate the toxic person, believing that their peace depends on the removal of external negativity. But peace is not found in controlling others. It is found in mastering yourself. You cannot change toxic people, but you can change how you respond to them. You can shift from resistance to understanding, from frustration to detachment, from anger to wisdom. This does not mean tolerating mistreatment. It means using these encounters as a mirror. It means asking yourself, what is this situation teaching me? How can I grow from this? Instead of being consumed by resentment, you begin to extract wisdom. Instead of feeling powerless, you reclaim your strength. You begin to see that these individuals, however difficult, are unknowingly helping you become more aware, more resilient, more conscious of your own energy. And with this shift in perspective, something incredible happens. The grip they once had on you weakens. Their words no longer hold weight. Their actions no longer disturb your peace. Because you are no longer looking at them with frustration, you are looking at them with understanding. You realize that their toxicity is their burden, not yours. You are merely a witness to their suffering, not a participant in their chaos. This does not mean engaging with them or trying to change them. It simply means seeing them for what they are, reflecting back areas within yourself that need growth, healing, and awareness. It is easy to point fingers, to blame toxic individuals for their behavior, and to dwell on their negativity. But what if, instead of viewing them as a source of frustration, you viewed them as a means for self-discovery? What if their presence in your life was not a punishment but an opportunity, not an enemy to fight but a lesson to embrace? Consider what they stir within you. Do they trigger anger? Then perhaps there is unprocessed anger within you waiting to be understood. Do they make you feel unworthy? Then maybe a part of you still seeks validation from others. Do they drain your energy? Then perhaps you need to strengthen your boundaries and recognize where you are overextending yourself. Every reaction you have is a clue, pointing to something deeper that needs your attention. But most people do not see this. They focus outward, trying to change, fix, or eliminate the toxic person, believing that their peace depends on the removal of external negativity. But peace is not found in controlling others. It is found in mastering yourself. You cannot change toxic people, but you can change how you respond to them. You can shift from resistance to understanding, from frustration to detachment, from anger to wisdom. This does not mean tolerating mistreatment. It means using these encounters as a mirror. It means asking yourself, what is this situation teaching me? How can I grow from this? Instead of being consumed by resentment, you begin to extract wisdom. Instead of feeling powerless, you reclaim your strength. You begin to see that these individuals, however difficult, are unknowingly helping you become more aware, more resilient, more conscious of your own energy. And with this shift in perspective, something incredible happens. The grip they once had on you weakens. Their words no longer hold weight. Their actions no longer disturb your peace. Because you are no longer looking at them with frustration, you are looking at them with understanding. You realize that their toxicity is their burden, not yours. You are merely a witness to their suffering, not a participant in their chaos. This does not mean engaging with them or trying to change them. It simply means seeing them for what they are. Lost, struggling, trapped in their own unconscious patterns. And when you view them this way, without attachment, without anger, without resistance, you free yourself. They no longer control your emotions. They no longer occupy your thoughts. You have taken back your power. So, instead of resenting the presence of toxic people in your life, recognize the role they play in your evolution. Let them teach you patience. Let them remind you of the importance of boundaries. Let them challenge you to stand firm in your peace. And most importantly, let them reveal the areas within yourself that need attention, so you can grow into the most empowered version of yourself. You are not here to fix them, to change them, or to engage in their battles. You are here to learn, to evolve, to rise above. And when you do, you will find that toxic people no longer have a place in your world, not because you have forced them out, but because you have grown beyond their reach. We often think of demons as distant supernatural forces, something from myths, scriptures, or horror films. But the real danger is not in what is obvious, it is in what is hidden. Demonic influence does not come announcing itself with fire and horns. It moves through subtlety, through people, through energies that drain you, confuse you, and pull you away from your divine purpose. The most dangerous demons are not the ones we see in the dark, but the ones disguised in the light. Today, let's uncover the 7 crucial signs that someone in your life may not be who they seem to be. We often think of demons as distant, supernatural forces, something from myths, scriptures, or horror films. But the real danger is not in what is obvious, it is in what is hidden. Demonic influence does not come announcing itself with fire and horns. It moves through subtlety, through people, through energies that drain you, confuse you, and pull you away from your divine purpose. The most dangerous demons are not the ones we see in the dark, but the ones disguised in the light. Some people enter your life not to uplift you, but to weigh you down. They come wrapped in the appearance of friendship, love, or even guidance. Yet something about their presence unsettles your soul. You may not be able to put it into words at first, but you feel it. A slow unraveling of your peace, a dull erosion of your clarity. These are not just difficult people, they are forces that seem almost engineered to separate you from truth, from yourself, from God. A demon does not destroy in one swift motion. Instead, it deceives. It whispers in your ear, not in a voice from the abyss, but through the doubts planted by those around you. It is the friend who encourages your worst habits while pretending to celebrate your freedom. It is the partner who manipulates your emotions, keeping you in a cycle of guilt and dependence. It is the family member who dismisses your dreams, not out of concern, but to keep you small. Demonic energy is not loud and monstrous. It is subtle, persistent, and always seeks to distort what is real. There are people who, no matter how much love and patience you offer them, only bring confusion and exhaustion. After spending time with them, you feel drained, as though something precious has been taken from you. It is not the same as feeling tired from a deep, meaningful conversation or from helping someone in need. No, this is different. This is a theft of energy, a depletion of spirit, a heaviness that lingers. They leave you questioning yourself, doubting your path, losing sight of your peace. These are not just difficult relationships. They are spiritual traps designed to keep you bound. One of the clearest signs of demonic influence is the presence of manipulation. These people twist words, rewrite reality, and make you second-guess your own experiences. You find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do, feeling guilty for standing up for yourself, and confused about what is true. They do not empower you, they ensnare you. The more time you spend with them, the more tangled your thoughts become, until you can no longer hear the voice of God within you. Demonic energy works by severing your connection to the divine. It fills your life with noise, distractions, and conflicts that pull you away from prayer, from stillness, from truth. It is not always an outright attack. Sometimes it is a slow diversion. One day you stop meditating, the next you are too tired to pray, and soon you have drifted so far that you no longer recognize the person you have become. If someone in your life consistently leads you away from clarity, from peace, from purpose, they are not guiding you, they are distracting you. But the greatest trick of all is the illusion of power. You do not need to fight demons. You only need to see through them. When you recognize these forces for what they are, they lose their hold on you. The moment you awaken to the truth, the chains they have placed upon you begin to break. You were never meant to live in confusion, exhaustion, or fear. Your spirit was designed for light, for clarity, for divine purpose. And when you choose to walk in that truth, no darkness can ever hold you again. Some people do not harm you in obvious ways. They do not raise their voice, they do not strike. They do not openly wish you ill. Instead, they take from you in ways that are harder to name. You walk away from them feeling drained, but you cannot explain why. You feel anxious, but there was no clear threat. You feel guilty, but you have done nothing wrong. These people are energy vampires. They feed not on your body, but on your spirit. They thrive on your confusion, on your emotional exhaustion, on the quiet erosion of your peace. There are those who never seem satisfied unless they are stirring chaos. They may not appear aggressive, but wherever they go, drama follows. Their life is a storm, and if you stand too close, you will be caught in it. They bring conflict where there was once peace. They set people against each other in ways that feel almost accidental, but if you look closer, you see a pattern. These people are not just unlucky, they are agents of disorder. They pull others into their turbulence, and soon, without realizing it, you find yourself fighting battles that are not yours to fight. Some people thrive on negativity. They do not celebrate victories, they search for flaws. They do not encourage, they dismiss. No matter how well things are going, they find a reason to complain, a reason to doubt, a reason to darken the light. At first it seems harmless, just someone venting their frustrations. But over time you realize their presence makes the world feel heavier. Their words are not just complaints, they are seeds of despair planted in your mind. Their constant negativity is not just a bad habit, it is an energy that seeks to pull you down with them. You may notice that whenever you are happy, whenever you find peace, certain people respond in strange ways. They do not celebrate with you. Instead, they downplay your success. They bring up unnecessary worries. They remind you of past failures. A true friend rejoices in your joy, but someone operating under darker energy feels threatened by it. Their presence is a shadow that falls over your brightest moments. It is subtle, but it is real. They do not want you to rise too high because their power over you exists only when you remain uncertain, afraid, and small. Then there are those who never take responsibility. Every problem is someone else's fault. Every mistake comes with an excuse. Every broken relationship, every lost opportunity, always the result of external forces, never their own doing. And yet somehow they convince you to carry the weight of their burdens. They place guilt on your shoulders, make you feel responsible for fixing what they have broken. These people are not simply careless, they are masters of manipulation. Their words twist reality until you are left questioning your own judgment. You find yourself apologizing for things that were never your fault, making sacrifices that were never yours to make, giving endlessly while receiving nothing in return. It is easy to ignore these signs at first. After all, no one wants to believe that someone close to them is operating under demonic influence. But the truth is, not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some people enter your world only to test your strength, to see if you will choose yourself, your peace, your divine purpose over their chaos. You are not obligated to remain in the presence of those who drain your soul. You do not owe anyone your suffering. The moment you recognize an energy vampire, a bringer of chaos, a manipulator, you have already begun to free yourself. The chains they placed upon you were never locked. You only needed to see them for what they were. Control is a silent force. It does not always appear as someone demanding, shouting, or physically restraining you. More often it arrives in quiet, persuasive ways, slipping into your life under the guise of love, concern, or wisdom. A demon does not say, "You are my prisoner." Instead, it whispers, "I only want what's best for you." It convinces you that your thoughts are wrong, your instincts are flawed, your dreams are unrealistic. It makes you believe that without its guidance, you would be lost. Manipulation is one of the most dangerous tools of demonic influence. It operates through people who twist reality until you no longer trust yourself. They make you feel selfish for having boundaries, guilty for prioritizing your own well-being. They rewrite the past, convincing you that your memories are false or exaggerated. When you express pain, they say you are overreacting. When you assert yourself, they call you difficult. Slowly, they erode your sense of self until you are no longer sure where you end and they begin. The illusion of control is powerful because it does not feel like control at first. It feels like guidance, like care, like wisdom from someone who claims to understand you better than you understand yourself. These people position themselves as your protector, your mentor, your savior. They create problems only they can fix. They break you down only to build you back up in their image. They keep you in a cycle of dependency, where their approval becomes your only source of security. If you have ever felt like you must shrink yourself to keep the peace, that is not love. If you have ever been afraid to express joy because someone might resent it, that is not friendship. If you have ever doubted your own reality because someone constantly contradicts you, that is not wisdom. These are chains disguised as care. They are not here to free you, they are here to bind you. A demon does not need to control you physically if it can control your mind. The strongest form of imprisonment is not a locked room, but a manipulated perception. If you can be convinced that your worth is dependent on someone else's approval, you will never leave. If you believe that your happiness is selfish, you will always sacrifice it for others. If you accept that your voice does not matter, you will remain silent. That is how darkness keeps you small. By making you believe that staying small is the right thing to do. But you were not created to live under someone else's shadow. You were not meant to doubt yourself at every turn, to live in a constant state of fear, guilt, or confusion. You were given a mind, a soul, a connection to something greater, and no one has the right to sever that. No one has the authority to define your worth, dictate your dreams, or rewrite your story. The moment you recognize this illusion, you begin to break free. Control only works if you believe in it. Manipulation only succeeds if you accept it as truth. The spell is broken the instant you awaken to the fact that no one owns you. The approval you have been seeking, the validation you have been craving, was never necessary in the first place. You were already whole. You were already free, and the power that seems so great over you dissolves the moment you refuse to kneel before it. There is a quiet danger in the people who subtly lead you away from yourself. They do not appear as enemies, nor do they announce their intentions. Instead, they weave themselves into your life as friends, mentors, or even lovers, slowly redirecting your focus until one day you realize you have drifted far from the person you once were. This is not coincidence. This is not mere influence. This is the work of something deeper, something designed to separate you from truth, from peace, from the voice of God within you. It starts small, a suggestion here, a comment there. Maybe they mock your faith in a way that seems playful, making you feel foolish for believing in something greater than yourself. Perhaps they plant seeds of doubt, not by challenging you directly, but by constantly introducing distractions. They offer new ideas, new philosophies, new priorities that push you further from the stillness where you once heard divine guidance so clearly. They don't tell you to stop praying, they simply fill your time with other things. They don't forbid you from seeking wisdom, they just make you question if it was ever real. And so, you drift. At first, it is barely noticeable. You become too busy for moments of reflection. Your mind becomes cluttered with noise, your days filled with tasks that seem urgent but never truly meaningful. The peace you once carried within you starts to fade, replaced by a restless energy, an unsettled feeling you cannot quite explain. You are always in motion, but never arriving anywhere. You are always connected to something, but never to yourself. The greatest deception of demonic influence is that it never feels like force. It feels like choice, it feels like exploration, like growth, like liberation. You tell yourself that you are expanding your mind, opening yourself to new experiences. But true expansion never leads to confusion. True growth never demands the abandonment of your inner peace. If someone in your life constantly leads you away from the places where you once felt closest to God, if they pull you from the thoughts and practices that once gave you clarity, this is not guidance. This is distraction. It is easy to dismiss this when it happens gradually. After all, How can you accuse someone of harm when they have never openly attacked you? How can you blame them for your own choices? But this is precisely how such forces work. They do not need to tear you away, they only need to turn you slightly, just enough that, over time, you no longer recognize the path you are walking. A small misdirection, repeated over and over, is all it takes to lose yourself entirely. But there is a way back. The moment you recognize that you have been led astray, the power they hold over you begins to fade. The confusion, the noise, the distractions. These are illusions, and illusions cannot withstand the light of awareness. You do not need to fight or argue or justify yourself. You only need to return to the stillness where truth resides. You only need to listen once again to the voice you had forgotten. Demonic influence is not always about darkness in the obvious sense. Sometimes it is simply the presence of something that keeps you too preoccupied to see the light. If there is someone in your life who always brings confusion, who always leads you into chaos, who always pulls you away from the clarity you once had, this is not coincidence. This is not harmless. And the moment you recognize it for what it is, you have already begun the journey back to yourself. Some people enter your life not to walk beside you, but to pull you off course. They do not seek to inspire, uplift, or encourage. They seek to distort. And the most dangerous among them do not do this with obvious malice, but with quiet persistence. They do not appear as enemies, but as friends, mentors, lovers, or even family. They offer advice that seems wise, concern that seems genuine, and companionship that seems comforting. Yet something about their presence leaves you feeling uncertain, lost, disconnected from your true self. At first you dismiss these feelings as paranoia. After all, this person has not done anything explicitly harmful. There have been no threats, no violence, no clear betrayals. But there is something beneath the surface. Something intangible, yet undeniable. A tension in your soul, an unease that lingers after every interaction. Perhaps their words contradict themselves, yet they always have an excuse. Perhaps they claim to support you, yet somehow they always manage to plant seeds of doubt. Their presence does not bring clarity, it brings confusion, and confusion is the first sign that you are being misled. Demonic influence does not always appear as aggression. Sometimes it appears as charm. The most dangerous deceptions come wrapped in kindness, wrapped in familiarity. It is easy to recognize an enemy who seeks to harm you outright. It is far more difficult to recognize one who does so under the illusion of love. They are not trying to destroy you, they say. They are trying to help. They are not trying to control you. They insist they are only guiding. But guidance should never feel like suffocation. Love should never feel like limitation. A person who truly wants the best for you does not manipulate your emotions to keep you bound to them. You may notice that these people do not want you to be free, though they will never say it outright. Instead, they will mock your independence, dismiss your dreams, undermine your confidence. When you speak of something that excites you, they respond with skepticism. When you begin to grow, they subtly remind you of past failures. They do not need to tell you directly to doubt yourself. They simply introduce enough hesitation to make you slow down. And in that moment, they have succeeded. Not by force, but by suggestion. Not by chains, but by whispers. And so you stay small. You stay uncertain. You second-guess yourself before making any decision, not because they forbid you, but because they have conditioned you to believe that you cannot trust your own instincts. This is how demonic energy works. Not through overt destruction, but through quiet dismantling. It is a slow unraveling of your confidence, your clarity, your connection to the divine. One day you wake up and realize that you no longer recognize the person you have become, that you no longer hear the voice of God the way you used to, that you have become so entangled in their influence that you do not know how to move forward. But here's the truth. No one has the power to sever your connection to what is real. They can distract you, mislead you, cloud your vision, but they cannot take what is yours. The moment you recognize the pattern, the moment you see their influence for what it is, you begin to regain your strength. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to return to yourself, to listen to the quiet voice that was there before they came, the voice that has been waiting for you to remember who you are. A demon's greatest weapon is illusion, but illusions only hold power when you believe in them. The moment you see through them, they crumble. The person who kept you small no longer has control. The doubts they planted lose their grip, and you realize that you were never truly bound. You only needed to wake up.